I'm not quite sure if I'll post this, but I found out 2 days ago that my ex-boyfriend of 8 years, which we broke up back in 2019, we were together since I was 18 until 25. He passed away this past Sunday. And although we had been separated for almost 6 years, like five and a half years, it still very much so hurts because I was with him for 8 years, even though it was on and off, and even though it was not the healthiest relationship. I was not in a good place in my life. I was seeking validation from men, from other men outside of my relationship, so that put a lot of stress on our relationship. And then he was involved in drugs throughout most of our relationship, so that put more stress in our relationship. And so it was not a healthy dynamic by all means, but there was a lot of love there. And I'm so thankful and so grateful for our time together. I'm so grateful for him coming into my life when he did. I'm so thankful. And so as I'm processing this loss, I am noticing that these waves of emotions are coming up. I think at the beginning I was like, okay, I was accepting of the reality that he had passed away. Yes, there was sadness and I did cry, but I think my rational 32-year-old self who has done some healing, who doesn't feel as guilty anymore, was okay. And as I'm processing, as I'm still going through life, these last couple of days after finding out of his passing, these waves are coming up. And I think my younger self, the self that dated him, the self that was with him, throughout those 8 years is coming up. And I think a lot of the tears that I've been shedding these last couple of days, yesterday and today, especially today, I think today is just hitting me harder. I think I'm like allowing her to be, allowing her to feel this pain without needing to rationalize anything, without needing to push or repress any emotion. I think it's easy for me to say like that I've moved on, or that I haven't even talked to him for X amount of years and he's in a better place now. Like, but this part of me, like this younger self who was with him and who loved him so much and who just experienced so much with him, is coming up, and she feels the pain, she feels the sadness, she feels some regret as well, and some like lots of sadness and some guilt even. And I think that's what's coming up. And as I'm processing this, first of all, I'm just so thankful for where I am in my life, that I have a safe space where I can be, right? I can be emotional, I can cry, I have a safe home where I can feel safe to just be, right? I'm so thankful for my job that allows me to take time off, and my boss, my friends, my coworkers who hold space for me to just be, and who have reached out to me. And so I'm thankful for that. It also makes me think, like, outside of just like what's happening with me, like it just makes me really sad to know that we live in this society that doesn't encourage emotions, right? For us to feel our emotions. Like the guilt that I felt today for not going to work, for calling in, and for crying, and for being emotional, and for not just like getting over it and like just going to work, like it's huge. And I can only imagine someone who has kids, someone who has like a lot more responsibilities than I do, and like how you have to suppress your emotions, you have to suppress your heart, you have to suppress life in order to just function in this society. And it's just so destructing. It's it's so like, that's not what life is meant to be. And it just, again, aside from like what I'm experiencing, like it just makes me really sad that that's the society that we live in. And um I get it. Like I get why so many people repress their emotions or try to avoid it or distract themselves. Like the amount of times that I picked up my phone when I first found out that he had passed and like just started scrolling, right, to like get my mind off of it, to not think about it, um watch TV and go to work and like just pretend that like everything was fine. And maybe everything was fine then, but like we are human beings with emotions and we are meant to feel them. And like if we don't feel them, like they're not going anywhere, right? Like me crying is this release of emotions, this natural thing that happens when we allow the emotions to flow through us, right? Whether it's through just talk, me even talking about it is a way of, is a therapy, right? A way of therapy of releasing sadness, releasing, pain. Crying, and it's another way. Movement. And I'm so thankful that I have some knowledge of these things and that I have created this healthy and nurturing relationship with myself, that I can give myself this space. And even though I know those things, like shame and guilt still comes up, but I'm able to kind of be aware of what's happening. And anyways, um if you're experiencing loss of any kind in your life, like even if it's a breakup, even if it's loss of a job, loss of a pet, loss of a friendship, like any type of loss, right? I think even moving out of your hometown or out of a city, um, it's there's a time after that ending that like we are meant to mourn, what was, mourn the relationship that we lost, the friendship, the city, the home that we knew. And I think it's important for us to allow ourselves to experience those emotions, to process those emotions in a healthy way, and to surround ourselves with people who will hold space for us and who will acknowledge us. And I think that it's sometimes hard to be vulnerable with others, right? To show our emotions to others because we think that we have to be strong. Like we have to keep it together. We have to be strong because there are bills we need to pay, because, there's money that we need to make, and because, we need to do all of these things in order to just survive. And we just keep hurting ourselves even more. And so if you don't have that support system, I encourage you to be that for yourself, to like hold yourself, even if it's just you in your room, you in your restroom, of just like crying it out. I promise you it's not a waste of time, and you're strong enough to feel that. You're strong enough to endure those emotions that come up. And like something that happens when you allow those emotions to be and to flow is that it feels like weight has been lifted off your shoulders, off your heart. It feels like you are stronger because you allowed yourself to be emotional, to let your emotions flow. And it's a process of, it's part of the process of mourning and of moving through all of these emotions that are coming up. If you don't feel safe, in your home or with your friends, like go outside in nature, go to a park, pray to God, pray to the universe. Like, there are other outlets. You are not alone in this. And I'm not a therapist. I'm not a grief counselor of any sorts, but even if it's just like an ear, to listen to you and to hold space for you, I'm here. I might not have the right words to say, but something that I need right now, is a hug. It's just a hug. Like, I just want to, like, hug someone and just cry on their shoulder and just be. And a friend, reached out and asked how I was doing and what I needed, and like, that's literally what I said. I just need a hug. And so after she gets off work, she's gonna come and hug me. So maybe you hug your pet, maybe you hug a tree, maybe you hug yourself, and you give yourself that love that you need right now. You're not alone. You're not alone. You're gonna get through this. I have this tattoo here that I actually got back in 2014, when I've never shared this like in public, on social media, when that ex-boyfriend, and we got pregnant, and I had a miscarriage, and it was a really, really hard time, and I got this tattoo. It says, "This too shall pass," because we were going through a lot in our relationship, and then that happened, and it put more stress in our relationship. And so it just reminds me every time that I'm going through something in life, like, I just look at that tattoo and I just remind myself that this is going to pass. This is just a moment in my life. This is not my whole life. And so this is a reminder of me, to me, of this moment. And I hope that it's a reminder to you as well, that this is going to pass. This too shall pass. Thank you for holding space for me to share this with you. I love you. You are strong. You are capable. You are loved.